Hello friends, today we are going to discuss the signal conditioning methods which are used in process control systems. This is from the subject PLC and automation and from the unit transmitters and signal conditioning. The course outcome of this unit is identify needs of transmitters, design of signal conditioning circuits for various sensors, and the PO mappings are PO1, PO2, PO3, PO5, PSO1 and PSO2. The objectives of this lecture are to design an analog signal conditioning in process control systems, then to design an digital signal conditioning systems also. So, signal conditioning methods which are used in process control systems. So, for this, first we will see what is signal conditioning. So, it refers to operations performed on signals to convert them to form a suitable for interfacing with the other elements in the process control loop. So here there are two types. Analog signal conditioning is there, and second type is digital signal conditioning. In analog signal conditioning, we can see that is the if you see the main principle of analog signal conditioning, we can consider a sensor which measures a variable by converting information about that variable into a dependent signal of either electrical or pneumatic nature. And to develop such transducers, we take advantage of the circumstances in nature where a dynamic variable influences some characteristic of material. So here, the analog signal conditioning, it basically it provides the operations necessary to transform a sensor output into a form necessary to interface with other elements of process control loop. So there are some categories of this analog signal conditioning method. The general types are given. That is, the first is signal conditioning or signal level and bias change. The second is linearization. Third is convergence. Fourth is digital signal transmission, and the fifth is digital interface. So if you see for the first one, that is signal level and bias change. So here you can consider one of the most common types of signal conditioning. It involves adjusting the level, that you can say magnitude, and the bias, that is zero value of some voltage representing a process variable. For example, you can consider some sensor output voltage may vary from zero point 0.2 to zero point 0.6 volts as a process variable changes over a measurement range. So you can consider here the equipment to which this sensor output must be connected. It requires a voltage that varies from 0 to 5 volt for the same variation of the process variable. So if you see the second one, that is linearization, the purpose of linearization is to provide an output that varies linearly with some variable even if the sensor output does not. Then the third, we are having the convergence. So if you see that as the signal conditioning, it is used to convert one type of electrical variations into another. Thus, a large class of sensors exhibit changes of the resistance which changes in a dynamic variable. So in these cases, it is necessary to provide a circuit to convert this resistance change either to a voltage or current signal. So this is generally accomplished by you can say like bridges can be used when fractional resistance change is small, and or by amplifying amplifiers whose gain varies with the resistances. The third type we are having, fourth type we are having, that is signal transmission. An important type of conversion which is associated with the process control standard of transmitting signals as 4 to 20 milliampere current levels in the wire. So this gives rise to the need for converting resistance and voltage levels to an appropriate current level at the transmitting end, and for converting the current back to the voltage at the receiving end also. The next one, the last one type we are having, category we are having, that is digital interface. Here you can say like the use of computers in process control, it requires conversion of your analog data into digital format by integrated IC or integrated circuit devices, which are called as analog to digital converters, that is ADCs. And these are usually required to adjust the analog measurement signal to match the input requirements of the ADC. So for example, you can consider in this case that is ADC may need a voltage that varies between, for example, 0 to 5 volt, but the sensor provides a signal that varies from 30 to 80 millivolt. So signal convergence circuits can be developed to interface the output to the required ADC input. And the second type which we are going to see is digital signal conditioning. So first, we'll start with the analog signal conditioning in process control system. So here you can consider passive circuits that can provide some of the required signal operations, but in many other cases where impedance transformations, amplification, and other operations are also required, they were required, and a circuit was designed that depended on the discrete electronic components also. So apart from these specialized ICs, there is also type of some type of means amplifiers that finds wide applications as the building block of the signal conditioning applications. So the analog signal conditioning, into this we can find out so many applications as a voltage follower, inverting amplifier, non-inverting amplifier, instrumentation amplifier, and so on. So we'll see the voltage follower. If you see for the op amp circuit with the unity gain and very high input impedance, so the input impedance is essentially the input impedance of the op amp itself, which can be greater than 100 megaohms. So the voltage output tracks the input over a range defined by the plus and minus saturation voltage levels or outputs. And the current output, it is limited to the short circuit current of the op amp, and output impedance is typically much less than 100 ohms. So in many cases, a manufacturer will market an op amp voltage follower whose feedback is provided internally, and such a unit is usually specialized design for very high input impedance. And the unity gain voltage follower, it is essential an impedance transformer in sense of converting a voltage at high impedance to the same voltage at low impedance also. So you can say a op amp voltage follower which has a unity gain but very high input impedance. So the second one, the application, you can find out the inverting amplifier. It has already, we have studied this. The summing amplifier, it is given the circuit converts or it inverts the input signal and may have either attenuation or gain depending on the ratio of the input resistance R1 and feedback resistance, that is R2. So you can find out the output voltage for the summing amplifier. We are having a common modification in inverting amplifier you can make. So to make the summing amplifier here, the transfer function of this amplifier is given, that is V out is equal to minus of R2 divided by R1 V1 plus R2 divided by R3 V2. So the sum can be scaled by a proper selection of resistors. For example, if we make R1, R2, R3 same, and then the output is simply inverted sum of V1 and V2. So the average can be found by making R1 is equal to R3 and R2 is equal to R1 by 2. So this is the summing amplifier. Now let us develop an op amp circuit that can provide an output voltage which is related to the input voltage by V out is equal to 3.4 V in plus 5 volts. Okay. So what to be done to design this op amp circuit? So there are many ways to do this. One of the way is to use summing amplifier with V in on one input and 5 volt on the other. The gain will be selected to be 3.4 and 1 respectively, and the summing amplifier is also an inverter. However, so the sign will be wrong. Thus the second amplifier will be used with the gain of minus 1 to make the sign correct. So let's see what can be done for this. As I told you, the solution, the gain will be selected here to be 3.4 and 1 respectively, and the summing amplifier will be used here. So let's consider this output voltage, that is 3.4 V in plus 5 volts, And the selection of values of the resistors, obviously it will be based on the general notion of keeping the currents in milliamperes. So you can find out here op-amp summing amplifier plus one buffer will be used over here. So by this way, we have designed the circuit for the output voltage that is equal to 3.4 V in plus 5 volts. So you can find out it will provide an output voltage related to the input voltage also. So we have selected the values of the resistors like 34 kilo ohms and 10 kilo ohms, so that for the calculation also it will be easy and it will be providing the gain of 3.4 directly. So the selection of values of the resistors, as I told you, it is based on general notion of keeping the currents in the milliamperes. Now let us start with the third one, that is non-inverting amplifiers. So here it may be constructed from the op-amp, and the gain of this circuit is found by summing the currents at the summing point S and using the fact that summing point voltage is V in, so that no voltage difference appears across the input terminals. So I1 plus I2 is equal to 0, and I1 that is current through the R1 and I2 that is current through the R2. So you can find out here the output voltage, that is V out, that is given, that is in bracket 1 plus R2 divided by R1 into V in. So this equation basically it shows that the inverting amplifier, it has a gain that depends on the ratio of feedback resistors R2 and the ground resistor R1. But this gain can never be used for the voltage attenuation because the ratio is added to 1, because the input is taken directly into the non-inverting input of the op-amp, and the input impedance is very high since it is effectively equal to the op-amp input impedance. The output impedance is very low over here. So one example we can observe, that is this here we are going to design a high impedance amplifier with a voltage gain of R 42 for example. So what should be done? So here we can use a non-inverting circuit with the resistors selected from V out is equal to 1 plus R2 divided by R1 into V in. So what we want, voltage gain of 42. So just replace this with 42 is equal to 1 plus R2 divided by R1. So the equation you can easily find out. R2 is equal to what? 41 into R1. So simply we can choose here R1 is equal to 1 kilo ohm, which requires R2 is equal to 41 kilo ohm. So this is one of the solution, so that to design a high impedance amplifier with a voltage gain of 42. Now the next one, that is differential amplifier. Here you can find out there are number of op-amp circuits for differential amplifiers. The most common circuit for this amplifier, it is shown over here. And here you can notice that the circuit uses two pairs of matched resistors, R1 and R2. When matching is perfect and the op-amp is ideal, you can say the transfer function for this amplifier is V out is equal to what? R2 divided by R1, V2 minus V1. So if the resistors are not well matched, the CMR will be poor here. So that we have to keep in mind. One more thing we are having, that is the disadvantage of this is its input impedance is not very high, and further it is not the same for the two inputs. So for this reason, the voltage followers are often used on the input to provide high input impedance, and the result is called as an instrumentation amplifier. So you can find out here the basic basic instrumentation amplifier. So the differential amplifiers with the high input impedance and low output impedance are given the special name of instrumentation amplifier. So they find a host of applications in process measurement systems, principally as the initial stage of amplification for the bridge circuits. So one of them, it is shown over here, one type of instrumentation amplifier which is in common use, and the voltage followers are simply placed on each of input line. The transfer function is still given by the equation which we have studied, but here also one disadvantage we are having. The disadvantage of this circuit is that Changing gain, it requires changing the two resistors and having them carefully matched in value. So the input offset compensation can be provided using only the differential amplifier op amp to compensate for overall offset of all three op amps over here. Now let's design a signal conditioning so that this becomes 0.5 volt. So a sensor output range, that is 20 to 250 millivolts, as a variable varies over its range. Develop a signal conditioning so that this becomes 0 to 5 volt, and the circuit must have very high input impedance. So if you find out a solution, a logical way to approach this problem is sort of like to develop an equation for the output in terms of input. Okay, so a circuit can then be developed to provide a variation of the equation. So the equation is that of a straight line. Okay, so that is V out is equal to M into V in plus VO. So this is the equation. So here M is the slope of the line and it represents the gain if M is greater than 1, if it represents the attenuation if M is less than 1 required, and VO is the intercept. So that is the value of VO would be means V out would be VO if V in is equal to 0 in this case. Okay. So for the two conditions in this problem, form the two equations so that to solve M and VO. So for the same, we will consider that by considering the V out initially 0 volts and then 5 volts. So if you consider V out is equal to 0 volt in this case, so V out is equal to M into V in plus VO. Okay, so input voltage we had to convert it into volts. As it is given 20 millivolts, you can consider in volts like 0.02 plus VO. The second equation would be what? If you consider the maximum value, that is 5 volt, in that case the output will be what? 250 millivolts. So what will be getting? 0.25. Okay, so these two equations are given, that is 0 is equal to M into 0.02 plus VO. Similarly 5 is equal to M into 0.25 plus VO. Okay, so we get, if you solve this, we get M is equal to 21.7, and the output voltage VO will be what? Minus of 0.434 volts using a standard algebra. So this equation is will be what? V out is equal to, if we replace the values of M and VO in the above equation, your equation will be what? 21.7 V in minus 0.434. So in this form, you can see that summing amplifier could be used here. Okay, so you can find that you can again do one thing, that is you can take it common, that is 21.7. In bracket, you will be getting V in minus of 0.02. Okay, so this looks like a differential amplifier with the gain of 21.7 and a fixed input, that is 0.2 volts to the inverting side. So here we are having the figure for this, the circuit for this. You can see that it shows how this could be done with an instrumentation amplifier. So here you can note down the voltage divider, which is used to provide a 0.02 volt bias, and the Zener diode is used to keep the bias voltage constant against the changes of the supply voltage. So this example, it gives an idea that is about the important point that more than one signal conditioning circuit can often be used to satisfy the requirements. So the choice of which one to use often comes down to the number of parts or the cost. Okay. Now, in general, when designing a signal conditioning circuit, any required bias voltage should be provided by the resistance divider. So, into this case also it is done. The bias voltage will be provided using this circuitry and the regulated power supply also. So, plus 12 volt is given over here. Otherwise, any variation of the supply voltage will cause the signal conditioning to be in error, since the bias voltage would be wrong. So often a simple way to provide some comfort about the stability of the source to be divided is to use a Zener diode, which is done here. we can see in this circuit diagram. Many IC manufacture package instrumentation amplifiers in single ICs also, since they are in such common use, and many use the circuit systems, which is shown in the figure. That can be possible, and a more configuration of a common configuration of instrumentation amplifier is shown over here, and here the values of the resistors are selected so that the gain will be 21.7. So the resistors are selected like R2 is equal to 217 kilohertz and R1 is equal to 10 kilohertz. So the gain will be what? 21.7. So this is the designing of the signal conditioning circuit. Now let's see one more example, that is into this a sensor output voltage is given over here. Okay, the voltage ranging from minus 2.4 volts to minus 1.1 volt. So for interface to an analog to digital converter, this needs to be again 0 to 2.4 volts. So it is asked to develop a required signal conditioning for the same. So solution, one of the solution for this is to develop an equation for the output in terms of the input voltage VO. So V out is equal to M into V in plus VO. So as per the given voltage ranging from the inputs and outputs, you can find out it is minus 2.4 to minus 1.1. So just consider this range for the input voltage, and for the same input, the output is what? 0 to 2.5 volts. So just consider the same. Okay, then write down the two equations for the output in terms of the input. So here you can find out as VO is equal to 2.4 into M, the equation will be what? 2.5 is equal to minus of 1.1 M plus 2.4 M. So if you solve this equation for M you will be getting M is equal to 2.5 in bracket 2.4 minus 1.1 is equal to 1.923. So the transfer function equation is thus V out is equal to what? Just replace the value of M into this, the initial equation. So it is 1.923 Vn plus Vo. Vo is already we are having. So the design could also be accomplished by a differential amplifier if the 1.923 in the transfer function equation is factored. So it will get like V out is equal to 1.923 in bracket V in plus 2.4. Okay, so now we are going to develop a signal conditioning circuit using this equation or for this equation. Okay. So this is the differential amplifier with the gain of 1.923 and one of the input voltage which is fixed at 2.4 volt. So here you can find out that is using the voltage divider circuitry and fixed power supply, the voltage which will be applied will be what? 2.4 volts. So with the help of differential amplifier and by considering the gain as it is asked in the example, that is of 1.923, the circuit is designed. Now we'll start with the second type, that is digital signal conditioning. So first we need to find out that is why digital signal conditioning, and obviously what is digital signal conditioning also. So the answer to the first question is found in the recognition that digital electronics and digital computers, they have taken a major role in nearly every aspect of the life in our modern world. So, of course, digital electronics is at the heart of computers, but there are lots of direct applications of the digital electronics in our world. So, every day, things like automatic door openers in the stores, then motion sensors in the security system, and seat belt warning systems are implemented with digital electronics. So all these digital electronic systems, they require data to be represented to them in digital format. That is, the data have to be digitally conditioned. Okay, so the digital signal conditioning in the process control means finding a way to represent analog process information in the digital format. So when most of the people think of a computer, they visualize a common home and office personal computers or PC. In fact, however, one of the most common applications of computers is for controlling something. And when we learn that our, for example, our microwave oven has a microprocessor based computer inside. So it is there for the purpose of controlling the operations of the oven also. So it is with the use of computers in automobiles, washing machines, the airplanes, and vast host of the other examples also. So let us consider a simple example like how a Boolean equation may result from a practical problem. So, as we have seen, the use of computers in control system is particularly valuable for number of other reasons also. A computer can control multivariable process control system. Non-linearities in the sensor output can be linearized by using the computers. Then complicated control equations can be solved quickly and modified as needed. And sometimes the networking of control computers, they allow a large process control complex to to operate in a fully integrated fashion also. So let's see the example. So now it is we are going to consider a mixing tank for which there are three variables of interest like liquid level, pressure and temperature. So the problem is that we must sign, signal and alarm when a certain combination of conditions occur among these variables. So we denote the level by A here, the pressure by B and the temperature by C, and assume that a set point or set point values have been assigned for each variable so that the Boolean variables are either 1 or 0 as the physical quantities are above or below the set point values. The alarm will be triggered here with when the Boolean variable D, it goes to the logic true state. So that is the condition. So the alarm conditions are given here. The first alarm condition is what? Low level with high pressure, then high level with high temperature if we are having. And the third condition that is for the alarming, that is high level with low temperature and high pressure. So we can now define a Boolean expression with AND operators that will give D is equal to 1. Okay. So for each conditions, that is for low level with high pressure, then high level with high pressure, and then high level with low temperature and high pressure. So for all these conditions, we are going to define a Boolean expression with AND operations. So let's see what it will be. So here in the example, we have considered that is A, that is the level, B is the pressure, which indicates 1 indicates high pressure, 0 indicates low pressure. Temperature, that is C, indicates if it is 1, it indicates high temperature, or 0, low temperature. Similarly, the alarm, that is D, if it is 1, then you can consider it is on, and otherwise it will be off. Okay. So let's remember the alarm conditions and try to define a Boolean expression with AND operations over here for the D is equal to 1. So for each condition you can find out D is equal to A bar dot B. It will give D is equal to 1 for the condition 1. Okay. Now for the high level with high temperature, D is equal to what now? A into C. It will give D is equal to 1 for the condition 2. Now condition 3 is what? High level with low temperature and high pressure. So D is equal to A into C bar into B. Okay, so these are the three conditions. So the final logic equation from all this, if you combine all the Boolean expressions, or if you combine all the three conditions, so that if any is true, the alarm will sound. That is D is equal to 1. Okay, so this can be accomplished with the OR operation. So let's see what it will be. Yes, D is equal to A bar dot B plus A dot C plus A dot C bar dot B. So this equation would now form a starting point for a design of electronic digital circuitry that would perform an indicated operation. So this is the if you find out this system for illustrating Boolean application to control the all the parameters over here, and here the implementation of this equation using and or gate is shown in the figure, and the and or an inverter are used in straightforward implementation of the equation. So it should be noted that the equation which is given, it can be greatly reduced by someone skilled in the art of the digital logic to like d is equal to a into c plus b also. So we can again redraw the circuitry for the same with the help of this equation. Now the one more example we are having here, a process control systems which specifies that a temperature should never exceed 1600 degree if the pressure also exceeds 10 kilopascal. So it is asked to design an alarm system to detect this condition. So using a temperature and pressure transducers with the transfer function of 2.2 millivolts per degree Celsius and zero point 0.2 volt per kilopascal respectively. So if you find out the solution for the same, that the alarm condition will be a temperature signal of 2.2 millivolt per degree Celsius into 160 degrees Celsius equal to what? 0.352 volts, coincident with a pressure of what? zero point 0.2 volt per kilopascal into 10 kilopascal, that is equal to 2 volts. So this is the circuit which shows how this alarm can be implemented with the comparators and AND gate. And here the reference voltage could be provided from the dividers. Okay. So the same thing is done over here. We have considered T, that is temperature, V is the pressure over here. The references are also given so that if it will get exceeded, it will be given to the AND gate and the alarm will sound. So here it is a process control system as it specifies the temperature that should never exceed 1066 160 degrees Celsius, and also if pressure exceeds 10 kilopascal. So obviously the references are set according to the same, and the transducers are used so that it will convert it into voltages. The voltage will be compared against the threshold level or reference level for the temperature as well as the pressure, and if the both the conditions are true, coincident with the pressure signal of this 2 volt, then the alarm will sound. So in this way we have seen that is how the analog and digital signal conditioning circuits can be used in process control systems. Some of the examples we have seen over here. Thank you.